Call the Wight County School Board's in session. Madam Clerk.
Mr. Colick,
Here.
Mr. Cunningham,
Here.
Mrs. Perkins, Mr. Wooster,
Here.
and Mr. Marsh.
Here.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the agenda for open session as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Colick,
Yes.
Mr. Cunningham,
Yes.
Mrs. Perkins,
Yes.
Mr. Wooster,
Yes.
and Mr. Marsh.
Yes. Sir.
Would everyone please stand for a moment of silence and a pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Mr. Wooster. Good evening, everyone. It is March 18th, 2025. We're here tonight in Westside Elementary for a special school board meeting, budget work session. And we'll roll right into it. Kind of tee off the conversation here for the listening audience. I think it's been since early January. We've started working on the budget in one way or the other, and it has only ramped up until we are to the place we're at tonight. We've had our public hearing. I know that everybody sitting up at this table has spent an exhausting amount of time asking questions, floating around ideas, trying to look at different options and avenues for the budget. So where are we tonight? So we have taken the superintendent's proposed budget, and we have separated the items that were required from the ones that were discretionary. Every board member took a stab at ranking those items from top to bottom. That way everybody gets a vote on what's the top priority. And then we added those scores up, and the lowest score was the top priority. So on down the line. Very similar to how we did last year for last year's budget. We did that for the operating budget, and we did that for the capital request as well. Those documents are posted right now on Board Docs, so if anybody wants to pull them down, you can certainly pull them down, and you can see where every school board member stands with the priority. And you can see where the entire school board stands as a priority for everything. A little bit of housekeeping on this document because I think Mrs. Whitlow tidied it up this morning, really. And there are a couple of items, actually there's more than a couple, there's several that were tied. And so my proposal to the board, before we get into too many details, is to go down the line for the ties and give them an A and a B. I don't suspect there'll be much infighting over an A and a B for those that are tied. That way we don't have to renumber everything right here tonight. We can do that after the fact. Is everybody in agreement with that? Okay, so let's just start on the first page there. Number 35 was a tie with, so there's two. It's the textbook fund contribution is a tie with HR coordinator. So what I propose is that we pick an A and a B for number 35. And I'll leave it to someone else to throw out who's who.
Textbook fund is A.
Say it again.
Textbook fund is A.
Everybody okay with that?
Yeah. That's fine.
A for textbook fund. B for HR coordinator. All right, so number 26 is a tie. That's after school programs and increased nurse substitute rates. Floor is open.
I'd like after-school programs to be A, and the increased nurse substitute rates to be B.
Okay, is everybody all right with that? All right, pending any objections, after-school programs will be 26A. Increased nurse sub rates, 26B. All right, moving down the road, there's a tie for number 4. That's the IA for welding.
Welding is A.
And then
CTE.
CTE. So you want welding for A? Everybody good with that?
Yep.
Okay, so
That's
number
fine.
4A is IA for welding. Number 4B, CTE equipment repairs. Moving right along. 31, there's a tie for clinic assistants and
Travel training, transportation.
blind in one eye, can't see out the other. Where's it at?
I don't know.
Oh, there it is. Transportation. Who wants,
I'd like to see transportation as A and clinic assistance as B.
okay, pending any objections?
I would like to see A for clinic assistance and B for transportation.
Okay. We're gonna make it interesting. You guys wanna do an informal vote between A and B for those two?
Sure.
Okay. So those that want clinic assistance, 31A. Mr. Wooster?
Yes.
No. Ms. Perkins?
No.
No? No. All right. Here, B. Sorry, sir. Clinic assistance for 31B. And transportation, 31B. Okay, next page. There's a tie for 24, CPR trainer stipend and lead clinic assistant.
Lead clinic assistant is A.
Okay? Anybody else object to that?
I didn't hear. What was that?
Lead clinic assistant, 24A.
That's fine.
Mr. Cunningham, Mr. Wooster?
I'm good.
Okay, so 24A is your lead clinic assistant. 24B, CPR stipend, trainer stipend. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Handle with care stipends.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Old age is setting in here.
Mr. Marsh, did you see 29 as well on the first page?
No.
Nope, went right over it.
Yeah,
Okay,
I was wondering what was going
it's tie for 29.
Dr. Coleman pointed it out.
Thanks, Doc, keeping us honest. A lot of numbers up here. So 29 is SSO and CPR trainer stipend. Let's say,
CPR trainer stipend is A.
I'm good with that. Everybody okay with that?
Is that the CPR first?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Everybody else good? Okay, 29A is the CPR. 29B, SSO.
I don't think that was B.
Okay. We're getting down to it. 28. That's the MyView school bus tracker, and then 28 is iPad replacement rotation.
I'd like to see technology as A and my view as B.
I'm okay with that. Anybody else? Okay, that's 3. So 28, you good, Mr. Cunningham?
Yeah, I'm good.
So 28A is iPad replacement, 28B, MyView. And if my eyes are doing me justice, the last one is 36. It's a tie between transportation vehicle parts and technology equipment for new positions.
I would recommend the fleet services A and the technology B.
Okay, any objections to that? Okay, so 36A is fleet services, vehicle parts. 36B, technology, equipment for new positions.
And Mr. Chair, could we get a fresh copy of this later this week?
Yes.
Thank you.
17 is tied as well, but we didn't catch it, did we?
I was getting ready to ask about it.
Okay. So 17 is tied, that's operations, equipment leases, and health, 2 AEDs annually. I would like to see the AEDs as A. Any objections to that?
I concur with that.
Yeah, as long as when we're buying them AEDs, Dr. Coleman, we're getting the same brand every year. Okay, and hopefully we go through the fire rescue for them.
Excellent. Is there any more duplicates that we're overlooking? Okay, so,
Good.
Ms. Collett?
No, we're good.
So, Madam Clerk, if you would be so kind, following this, if you could clean this up and then send it back out and go ahead and post it on board docs for tonight. That way, anybody wants to see what we did tonight, it's right there in plain view.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. And do you want to talk about this, Ms. Perkins, or you want me to kick it off? So, to the board, and Dr. Kramer, and I believe Mrs. Getz, there's one little housekeeping thing I'd like to discuss. The CTE director, I think everyone is in concurrence that that position is needed. The point of contingency is rotated on, or fixed on, adding another person to central office. In conversation with Mrs. Perkins, I would like to put the football in your court and get your nod to find a way to appropriately assign that position to a school so that the CTE director is actively involved in the program, not necessarily sitting in CO.
100%, Mr. Chair, and if I may add plural schools, because both Smithfield High and Windsor High, and this person will be working very closely with the shipyard as well as we are integrating the IMT, Iowa Maritime Trades Academy. You and I sit on the board for that, so this person will be working very closely with representatives from the shipyard and our schools, so absolutely this person will be working in schools the vast majority of the time, and Ms. Getz and I have spoken as well, and we'll have an office in one of our schools. We will identify where that's going to be.
Excellent, sir. Mr. Cunningham?
And that basically was the question I was going to have. Where is he or she going to have an office? So it'll be in one of the high schools.
Yes, we will identify where that's going to be. And again, this person won't just be at that particular school, because the work is going to be between schools, and with the Iowa Maritime Trades Academy, they will be working, again, with the shipyard as well as with Camp Community College, where the grant, the $2.7 million grant that we acquired, the lab school grant through the governor's initiative, is in partnership with Camp Community College. So this person will be working with representatives from camp as well.
Okay, the other thing is, myself, I don't see a problem with him or her having an office in central office, because he or she is not going to be sitting in central office. Why are we concerned about where he or she sits when he or she is going to be wherever he or she is needed? That's my question to the board.
I want the person attached, it would be most likely to Smithfield High would be my guess, based on the amount of CTE programs that are over there and with the middle school. But I want the more accessibility, both for the CTE teachers and for the CTE director, and that way that they're not dividing their times being unavailable to both schools right there on campus. So I'd like the interaction to be more, of the availability.
Okay.
So that was my concern.
Yeah, I'd like to chime in a little bit on that because I'm kind of go hand in hand with Mr. Cunningham. Ultimately, if something's a central office position or a school position, it's not where they sit, it's who they work for. Okay? This is going to be a central office position, period. Okay? No matter where they sit, no matter where they work, and I agree they should be in the school. That way they've got hands-on with the folks that are working for them. They've got the ability to bring people from the shipyard over, from camp over in the school and see what's going on there. So I agree with all that. But to say the person is not working for central office, that would be a falsehood. So we are creating a new position, a new central office position who will be working directly for the superintendent or one of his designees, who will not be working for a principal. And so I just want to make sure everybody is aware of that. Okay, we're not creating a position in a school. Otherwise, in 3 years, we'll be asking for another CTE director in another school, and we're not going to do that.
Yeah, no, that wasn't my intention at all. I just wanted them to be based in the school physically.
No, I have no issue with that. I just want to make sure the public is well aware that, what this position actually is.
I think to your point, Mr. Colick, and you as well, Ms. Perkins, we have other positions where the people do not report to a principal, and they spend the vast majority of their time in schools. This position will be spending the overwhelming majority of their time in schools, working directly with our CTE staff and our principals. And to your point, yes, they will not be assigned per se to a principal, but it doesn't mean that they won't be spending the majority of their time in a school. And again, it won't just be the schools they will be working with. Camp Community College, as we are extending that partnership there, which is a requirement actually through the governor's requirement to have received a lab school. And we'll be spending time as the program evolves with representatives from the shipyard. So I see this person, again, being in our schools, to your point, Mrs. Perkins, the overwhelming majority of the time. Now, will they be at central office and may have a satellite while they're in meetings there? Of course, and there are budget board meetings that we will be having with camp for the lab school. But yes, it will not be technically, the person will not be technically reporting to a principal, but they will be spending most of their time with principals and with the CTE staff.
Okay. And again, I think just for the sake of everybody watching, I'm sure there's people watching tonight, and if they're not watching now, they're going to watch later this week. So when you look at this sheet, this prioritized list, which our esteemed school board clerk is going to clean up the A's and the B's.
I cleaned it up, and it's up now.
You're quick. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you, ma'am. So the items that are listed as required, these are just that's exactly what it says. These are required. These are things that we have to do. The items below are discretionary. So moving forward, assuming we get a vote tonight, if we pass this, we will adopt this budget, and it will be presented to the county. And then the county has to decide how much money they're going to allocate to Wight County Schools. Whatever that number may be, if it's enough to cover everything on this list, everybody's happy. If it doesn't cover everything on this list, whatever their threshold is, we're just going to start from the top priority and go down, and what doesn't make the cut just doesn't make the cut. The same holds true for the capital requests. And if that ends up being the case, then the board and the superintendent will work to figure out what, if any, changes have to be made. Same thing happened last year. Am I missing anything? My intent is to make sure that everybody that's watching knows what we're doing.
No, I think you explained it well. It's identical to what we did last year.
Yeah. Mr. Wooster? Good? Good. Ms. Perkins?
one point on the CIP, numbers, the band room and the weapons detection system were reversed on the last thing, so that'll need to be updated if it hasn't already been. So,
Did they change?
no, our rankings are the same and they're in the correct order everywhere except for, on the last ranking list, when we were filling it out on that second page, they were just reversed, so.
Got it. Okay. You got that for action, Ms. Whitlow? Got that for action? Okay. Mr. Cunningham, what say you, sir?
I'm good with it. We're good.
Dr. Kramer, what are we missing?
I'm not sure if you're missing anything, sir. I think you've stated, as Mr. Collick stated, I think it's a very similar process to last year, if that's what we follow. We are here to support you in whatever way you need as the board.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Somebody want to make a motion, or you want me to? Okay. Board, I move to approve the FY '26 Wight County Schools budget and adopt it as presented tonight and as ranked by the board.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Before we take the vote, I will say one more thing. We're putting this monkey back on the county's back. Those folks up there have the very difficult task of figuring out how much revenues that Wight County can afford to pay the schools. It's no easy undertaking, so whatever we end up getting, I'm not saying we're not going to go up there and advocate strongly for the schools. Just know that they've got those tough choices to make, so we'll be grateful at the end of the day, no matter what. And pending any other comments, Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Mr. Colick,
Yes.
Mr. Cunningham,
Yes.
Mrs. Perkins,
Yes.
Mr. Wooster,
Yes.
and Mr. Marsh.
Yes. Motion passes. Budget is adopted. That's outstanding. I don't think we got 5 last year. Yeah. Good deal. Any other comments before we close out? Listen, Dr. Kramer, staff, Madam Clerk, everybody who's had a bid in this, thank you. I don't think we're done yet. Mr. Very, we're not done yet. We still got to go work with the county, but thanks for all your efforts and time so far. This meeting is adjourned.